So, hi everybody. Welcome to session 1 of 4 of Labyrinth, the adventure game. Labyrinth Adventure Game is a new RPG. It is one of the prettiest and most beautiful games I've seen for a while. Beautiful cut-in artwork, nice little dice cut into the game. It's awesome. It is a sort of slightly OSR-y, slightly story prompty sort of game, designed very much for people who maybe have not done a great deal of role playing in the past. But for those of us who are more experienced in story games, it should offer us some great atmospheric approaches to playing in this game world inspired by the movie. In this game, what's happening is there is a Goblin King, and the Goblin King has taken something from you, and the characters have got their reasons for this. I'll get them to introduce themselves and their goal and why they're going into the labyrinth in a moment. We will, over the next couple of weeks, be making our way through to the Goblin King and their castle at the center of the labyrinth and having a climatic showdown with them. This game is being played on the Gauntlet. That means it's being played under the Gauntlet inclusivity policy because we try to promote safe gameplay. We are doing this under a few safety tools. We've set up our lines and veils between the characters. We are using the X card as our sort of emergency safety break, and then using script change if we want to sort of make changes or additions to any narrative that's being done. At the end of the game, we will be doing a session. We'll be doing stars and wishes. And stars and wishes is sort of a cool down tool that I'm quite fond of for helping me set up the next games and to celebrate what we had fun doing. With that in mind, I'm going to go and I'm going to get people to introduce themselves and their characters. And then I'm going to start setting up the scenes for the first encounter in the labyrinth. So I'm going to go in the order I see you in the character keeper. And Maria is our first player there. So Maria, can I ask you to introduce yourself and your character, please?
So, hi, I'm Maria. I'm a game designer and a player. I've been on the Gauntlet for a few months, and I'm really excited to play. I am playing Wanko, who is a fiery, and they're just here to find their lost fiery friend named... named Todd, who also went after the sea that Goblin King.
Cool.
And he's good at running and jumping, but he tends to be selfish sometimes and will do bad things.
Maria, I think we're having slight sound problems for you there. I'm not sure.
He tends to be running. He's good at running and jumping, and he tends to be selfish when people bother him and his friends.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Donna, would you like to introduce yourself and your character, please?
Thanks, Dave. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. I've been playing with the Gauntlet for quite a few years now at this stage. So very excited to play Labyrinth, one of my favorite films. Today, I will be playing Lily Valentine, who is a real human. And she has found her way into the Goblin realm to recover her grandmother's lost stew recipe from the Goblin King. She is dressed as a pirate, but that's because it's Halloween, right? And she was dressed up as a pirate when she found her way into the Goblin realm. She is good at endurance and bravery and singing and dancing, and is a little bit blunt.
Excellent. And next we have Ozzy. So Ozzy, can you introduce yourself and your character, please?
Hi, I'm Ozzy. I'm a long-time role player and an old friend of Dave's. We used to play vampires together like 20 years ago, long time ago. And like Donna, Labyrinth is one of my favorite films. I'm really excited to play this. And my character is going to be Squeek, an intrepid worm spy.
Excellent. And finally, we have Sabine.
Hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I've been with the Gauntlet for I think over 2 years now, quite a bit. And I always loved this Jim Henson optics and stuff like that, so I really wanted to play Labyrinth. I am going to play Scraggle Neatfingers, him, who's a goblin, and he is going to bring back that recipe because it belongs to everybody and not just to some lame king who Scraggle doesn't think has a right to be king, because why not? Why can't Scraggle be king? Scraggle's pretty good and at anything, at everything, and he should be king, or maybe somebody else. I don't know, but not that guy who isn't there for his, who isn't even a goblin, basically. So how can he be Goblin King? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, and the recipe is, of course, an original worm creation. That's what everybody forgets.
At least that's the story that the worms put out there. Excellent. Okay, so as I say, this is a dark fairy tale-ish sort of game, as per the movie that the game is inspired from. Our Goblin King is a lot likely to be Jareth. It will be a different Goblin King or Queen, which will be, I'd say, part of our discovery as we go through the story. There are many labyrinths and many cruel goblins and fairies that play nasty tricks on those that wish to travel through it. Okay, as a game, the currency of the game is pretty simple. It is a d6 roll, which will be modified by some of the abilities or flaws that people have. But there's no hit points or anything like that. But the game does have a progress indicator. The progress tells us where we currently are and going through the actual labyrinth. That's why we've got lots of little ribbons in the actual physical game book, so you can track where you are. But there's also the hours and the time. You have 13 hours to meet or get to the center of the labyrinth. And if you don't do that, then you can get lost in the labyrinth, never to return. So that's sort of the challenge, so to speak. So let us start at this point, and let's have a sight of an owl flying over a human house in the real world. We have established that it is Halloween, so there are kids and adults everywhere in costume, out trick or treating. But as it comes over your house, Lily, what do we note about it? What is unique or special, or something we want to call out about Lily's house?
I think the first thing we notice is one of those kind of old-fashioned weather vanes on the tip top of the roof. But instead of the usual cockerel, I think it's an owl, right? Matching almost exactly the owl we see entering on screen. And maybe there's a spark of magic flowing through it for the night it is. But I think, as we kind of zoom into the loft to find Lily, she is like rummaging through boxes, looking for something to extra to wear to the party she's going to tonight.
And what is that? What is she rummaging through? What in the box? Is this one of your grandmother's boxes? Is a box of her stuff and keepsakes?
Yeah, I think so. I think that fits. Maybe there's a some nice old-fashioned jacket which she remembers seeing in, or at least remembers hearing her grandmother describe years ago.
So as you are making your way through it, trying to find this, we see it is a well kept and organized little leather bound book, which is recipes. What memories does it bring back to you when you sort of see it?
I think somehow, when you open any given page, there's like a double spread on the recipe on one side and kind of some notes and some sketches on the other side, but um, but you also get an instant smell of that thing. Um, and maybe it's just because the page was open when that thing was being cooked all those years ago, even though it's impossible that every page would have its unique smell like that. But and we see this really kind of ornate bordering on each page. Like someone spent a lot of time on these recipes.
Yeah, I think that fits. It was something. It was something that your grandmother spent a lot of time with, and cooking for you, her family, was her one true passion. And it is in that feeling of like, you say, a sense of magic. You do get that memory of smell and taste. And each one, she would tell fantastical stories about when she was young, and a labyrinth, and how she was taught to cook by a she served in a high castle, and there were goblins and fire beasts and monsters, and these you can see the page bit by bit. It is illustrated, and this was spent a lot of time, and it was one of her most precious possessions, and it's sort of here in a box, forgotten, shut away. But let's sort of move from there a second, and let's cut across to Scraggle for the first time. Scraggle, where would we see your character for the first time, and what trouble have they got themselves into?
I think we would see Scrabble like in Mission Impossible style, trying to steal something, I think, from the dwarfs. It is a keg of dwarfs, fine dwarfish beer, and he is upside down on the ceiling, hanging there, and like and the music is kind of tense, and you can see that this is really, really important. And Scraggle lowers himself from the ceiling, or not, no, he just climbs down the wall, and it's very dramatic, and you see a snoring dwarf who lies over there and looks quite out of it, and then Scraggle snatches the keg, runs off with it, and the dwarf looks up like, oh, what's going on? And then the camera will pan out, and you will see behind the dwarf lots of kegs, actually, and you kind of figure that this is not the brewery. This is the place where the kegs are created. So what Scraggle stole basically was an empty keg.
So from a cooperation, Scraggle has stolen an empty beer barrel. That Scraggle, unlike most goblins, is not in the service of the Goblin King. So for Scraggle, how long has Scraggle been out on their own and away from the Goblin King?
Depends on who you ask. If you ask the other goblin, and the Goblin King hasn't been that long. If you ask Scraggle, he has always been a rebel and a fighter, and has, even as a small little goblin thingy nibbling, he was already standing up for himself and being very heroic and dashing.
Excellent. And back in Lily's book, or Lily's grandmother's book, let's call your grandmother Valerie. There are drawings. One of a pot cooking and two sort of flaming creatures holding the pot and making it bubble. And there is, as I say, written underneath them are the names of Wanko and Todd. Is that correct, Maria? Todd is your friend who is...
Yep. Yes.
Yep. So the names are there, and this is a story, because an illustrated story of the day that they met. They made the stew that that bought their freedom from the Goblin King. And as you turn the page, Lily, the next page, which is Valerie's invigorating stew. It sort of starts with the story of how she went on a quest with Wanko and Todd and Squeek to find the ingredients, and then it sort of gets to the recipe, and the page is missing, torn mostly out. When was the first time you had this stew, Lily?
I think the first time I remember having it was when I was 3, but it was way too hot for me, and I think I stayed away from it. I mean, it's I think a story that people tell now of me when I was younger, that I had a huge spoonful of it, and even though everyone warned me just to take a sip, but it was too hot for me, and I didn't go back to it for years until I was 8 or 9, when I loved it. But I still remember that fiery assault on my senses when I first tasted it.
Excellent. Wanko, how long ago did Todd go into the labyrinth to
It's probably a 1-year anniversary. It's the same moon, the same. It's Halloween, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same festival. It's the same holiday. I'm probably just an inch taller from last year.
Why did Todd go into the labyrinth alone without you?
I think Todd wanted to protect me. I was more of the more careless one between the two of them. He was trying to go and kind of overshot how good he was at what he was doing.
Great. Okay, so Todd has been missing. You've tried to hear or gain information or knowledge from them, but those many who enter the labyrinth do not return, and Todd is stuck, maybe lost. Maybe the Goblin King has got them again. And we see you, I suppose the camera pans away from you, and you're standing in front of the labyrinth, and it is spreads on for miles as far as the eye can see, crawling over hills and surrounding the castle, which is sort of a mismatch of architecture, but has a central marble tower, and the wall and the gates of the labyrinth are in front of you. In fact, no opening, no gates are visible here on the wall. You've been looking for weeks now to find the way in, and you realize that you need help. Luckily, your friend Squeek is with you. So Squeek, would you like to describe what Squeek looks like?
Squeek is a, well, obviously sort of tiny, not big, and he is currently clinging to a wall, and almost Wanko obviously sees him because they've been talking. But someone would casually walk by, would not see him because he almost blends into his surroundings, as he has the same coloration as the wall, as this particular wall anyway. And he's wearing, do Rams wear anything? I don't think he's wearing anything. It's just a but he's leaning the wall and saying, I could have sworn there was a door here. There must have been a door here. Let's go around the corner there.
And what you realize, I think, both of you, that you need help. And you think of your old friend, Valerie, who you have not seen for many years. She stopped coming to the Labyrinth as she grew older. She got married, she had children, but she did tell you, she said, if you should need her, if you should need her help ever again, you only need to ask. How did she say that she could be called upon? What do you have that would call upon them, Squeak?
She left a trinket, a little a pearl on a fine necklace, and that was obviously far too, the necklace was far too big, but Squeak is wearing that. He took off many links and made it so he could wear it himself as a necklace. But obviously, this is converted to his size. The pearl is about this big, and it sort of sits on his back. So he's wearing it like a like a rucksack almost.
Oh, okay.
So that he has this pearl sitting on his back behind his head. And hey, Wanko, rub the pearl, and we say Valerie's name 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like Wanko puts down his nose on it and rubs his face and says Valerie 3 times. Like,
Valerie, come and help. We are in a scuffle.
And I feel like Wanko feels like he sniffles and achoo right after, like, rubbing his nose all over the pearl.
Ooh.
Back in Lily's attic, almost at the same time that Wanko sneezes, a circular window in the attic busts open with a breeze, and a silver owl flies through the window silently and sits on a dressmaker's doll, looking over at you, Lily.
So yeah, I think this is like almost if we flip to the first page of the menu or the recipe book, this is the scene we would see described as per her grandmother's first journey to the goblin realm. So yeah, I think I just stand up and, like, very slowly, as if this is a wild animal, walk over, with a hand outstretched, and almost unrecognizably soft voice, kind of ask the owl what she's doing here.
And that's where you can hear your Wanko's voice that calls your grandmother's name 3 times. The book sort of flies out of your hand and hits the floor. The pages start flipping rapidly. In the corner of each book, which you haven't spotted before, she'd drawn the page numbers in a sort of and the shape of an owl, and it's like a flip book as you flip through it. And it's sort of flipping, the owl's feathers, wings shifting as you feel dust coming up around you, and all of a sudden the wind is too strong and you bring your hand up to cover your eyes, and when you bring your arm down, well, you're not in Kansas anymore, and you see yourself in the scene I described, on a hill overlooking a wall, and the castle and the labyrinth that goes on and on beyond it, and Wanko and Squeek are in front of you. This this looks.
You're not Valerie.
Yeah.
Who are you?
What do you... Okay. That punch is obviously too much. What's going on? Who are you? Who are you supposed to be?
Well, I'm Squeek. That's Wanko. But
And
you're
then
too
Wanko
young.
waves his hand.
Where's Valerie?
Chewing
Well,
out too
by the way-
young. For what?
Hmm?
Oh. I'm her granddaughter.
Granddaughter. Has it been that long?
Since my grandmother was here,
Yes. She
I
said.
guess.
She said to call us when we were in trouble, and so we did.
Okay. Are you the people who stole that page out of her recipe book?
No. That we're looking for that recipe. It was stolen. We know that. The Goblin King has it.
Huh. The goblin. So how did he get into my attic?
Well, that's what we like to know.
Like Wanko hides
Can you
between
can you take us back? Can you take us to your attic? Then we can have a look.
I don't know how I got here, so I don't know how I get back.
Oh, we killed you.
How did I get here? Okay, well, that makes sense. Listen, Squeek, was it?
Yes.
I would like to go home now. So why don't you do the reverse of what you did before, and then I can go.
Well,
I've got a very important party tonight.
I only know how to call Valerie, and you turned up. Do you see this pearl on my back?
Okay. Yep.
Rub it and say, I want to go back home.
Okay. So, I think maybe Lily leans in close to Squeek and kind of maybe picks him up a little bit and like gently rubs behind your back this pearl and says, I want to go home now. I want to go home.
And as you sort of see this below, and because I think you're close by, probably just close enough to see this Scraggle, what is your thought to see a human? Humans are rare in the labyrinth, and they tend to mean that the Goblin King will be drawn out of their castle.
Ooh, interesting. I will watch these people, and they're looking for someone who took something, and it was me. Ha, that's interesting. That's interesting. I am looking out from behind some kind of rock, I guess, where I hid. I'm pretty good at hiding. But you can see my ear when I go back after behind the rock. You can still see the ear poking out a little. Very fine ears.
As you rub the pearl and proclaim you want to go home, we see a shadow of an owl above and over you, and then it's as you sort of turn with a gust of wind and see the you see the form of the Goblin King. Image has been updated in the Goblin King sheet. Let's put a link there as well. But the Goblin King is dressed in resplendent armor, wearing a opulent headdress. Their long hair flowing, and they look at you with deep auburn eyes. And the Goblin King looks at you first of all and peers at you, Lily, and says, "Is this sweet Valerie that has come again, or something different, perhaps?"
Have you been sneaking into my house? Because that is not on whatever your face is.
So, I come only when I am dreamt of, and your dreams have often been of me.
Well, that sounds a little bit creepy, and also wouldn't hold up in a court of law. So I'm going to need you to give my recipe back ASAP, please.
Our recipe.
Yeah, our recipe.
He said that recipe was mine, and it was given to Valerie when she served as my kitchen maid. But she won her freedom, and I promised that as long as she did not return to the labyrinth, that her freedom was hers.
Okay, well,
you, young lady, I have offered no such promise to. If you wish to go home, then I will return you. If you can find your way to the heart of my labyrinth, there you will reclaim your recipe, and you will find your friends' missing companions.
So you're like a serial kidnapper? Is that what you're saying? Like you kidnap people just for fun?
said if they enter my labyrinth without my permission, then what would you have of me?
Well, I think you entered my attic before I entered your labyrinth. So, we're gonna, I don't know. We'll think of something.
Then I tell you what, Lily Valentine, if you make your way through my labyrinth within 13 hours, I will return you and your recipe to your waking world. And if not, you shall take up a place in my castle and cook and sing for me like your grandmother used to. Do you accept the terms of this wager?
What's the alternative? That what, just wait here?
Said, I could return you now. Without your recipe, you'll never see it again.
And what about the other people's friends?
Oh no, I think they will stay in your stead.
Well, you're just mean. That's what you are.
I am, and she produces a gold lily and passes it into your hand. Said, I am not mean. I am kind, as you will see. Said, but these are my, and he points to Wanko and Squeek, these are my subjects. And I am not, and do not need, to be kind to them. And she sort of explodes into a set of blackbirds and is away into the air.
She always does that.
Wanko barks at the birds, even if after they've flown away.
Yeah, I think Scraggle shakes his fist a little. And that's when you can actually see him lurking around behind the rock. And he says, a king should be kind. That's just natural logic, right? Right? King should be kind. So if I were king, I would totally be kind. And I would return you. And I wouldn't keep the recipe hidden. Hi, I'm Scraggle.
Who are you?
I
Goblin.
Scraggle. Yeah, you don't look anything like your Goblin King, do you?
Right? Right? She's not even a goblin. That is so, that shouldn't be. I mean, a Goblin King should be a goblin, right? That's the reason. It should be maybe me or some other goblin, but not that one. That one looks more like you, actually. Looks like Lily.
Well, I mean, Wanko, did you say your friend is being held by the Goblin King? Because I guess I would have taken this deal, her deal, except she seems really mean and out of control.
Yeah, I feel like Wanko does a small bow to you and goes like maybe like pats your shoe a little bit and he's like yes they took my best friend away. It was a year from today and he's jumping over his words and he's like, I'm just happy to see he's still alive and okay. And he kind of just carries like your skirt if you're wearing one.
Yeah. So, do you guys know the way through the labyrinth?
Sure.
Changes all the time.
Yeah, sure, but you just head into the center. That's where the center is.
Well, that sounds very straightforward.
Yeah, but I mean, how hard can that be? Really?
I mean, labyrinth to me kind of evokes some kind of maze, but what do I know?
Well,
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, but it's not a hard one. I can figure this out.
Right, I'll be back in a bit.
You're not entirely sure
crawls up the wall to see over the top.
Cool. As you climb towards, or you make your way towards the wall. You're not sure if it's the wall of the labyrinth that moves or the land that you're on, but you can hear this sort of grating as the walls turn towards you, and ahead of you, you can see now. As you look forward and see the entrance and the gateways into the labyrinth, there are 2 doors, one carved with stone and overgrown with moss, and a second one which is old wood and rusty metal. Also in this scene is a square stone-lined pond filled with brackish water, dragonflies flitting across its surface. Sitting there having a conversation over a small meager lunch is a goblin and a horned beast. They are in the middle of what appears to be a game. But as they see you, the goblin stands up, brushes themselves down, and goes, "Ah, welcome. Are you here to make your way through the labyrinth?"
No, we're just tourists. I mean, she's just a tourist. We're just showing her around.
Yeah, the Goblin King just invited me to the palace, right? So you should definitely bring us, right?
Well, I am Glowum, and this is my friend Loma. And the beast stands up and scratches its shaggy mane. We are here to welcome you. You may choose my door. He points to the stone door. And then Loma moves, sorry, he points to the wooden door. Loma moves towards the stone door and says, "Oh, my door." Which way would you tend and prefer to travel in?
I mean, I would prefer to travel the safest, quickest way.
Don't believe what they say.
What do you mean, don't believe a word we say? That's just stereotyping. Goblins are trustworthy. We are noble creatures. I mean, why am I arguing with a worm? Why am I arguing with a worm, Loma?
Because you're never right. You always lie.
Then I feel like Wanko speaks up about, "Hey, Glowum, you kind, handsome sir, what's behind your door?"
Says, the fastest and most effective way to the heart of the labyrinth. Said, wonderful opportunities. You'll be there lickety-split, well kept, easy. I may even provide you a map. And he holds out a map. And goes, "No," says Loma. "Don't go through that door. Go through my door. My door is the way of nature. It will take you through wonderful sights. A slower journey, but safer."
Yeah, well, I think we're in a bit of a hurry. And obviously you can always trust a goblin.
See? They
Trust
get it.
your own kind.
Said, they get it. Not that I trust them. Scraggle is not well thought of in goblin community.
The That's not
Yeah.
true. That's just basically a lie. Hey, wait, we caught him in a lie, so he's a liar, so we have to take the other door.
Hmm.
Ha.
I like
Gotcha,
the horned
gotcha.
beasts a lot more than goblins. Sorry, Scraggle.
Yeah, I mean, I like goblins more than I like worms, so that's fair.
So Squeak, you think we should go through the beast's door, right? Because it's not a goblin door, and a goblin, apart from Noble Scraggle here, is working for the Goblin King, right? That much.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do we think the Goblin King doesn't want us to get there in time?
Yeah, he gave us 13 hours, so he wants to delay us
Okay.
as much as he can.
Yeah, he said he wasn't kind. He's mean, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could, well, I can't, but you could flip a coin if you want. But I say we go through the through Loma's door.
Down with that.
What do you think, Wanko?
Wanko flips his head to both doors and says, I feel like both are more similar than we think. And that it wouldn't matter.
Ah. So this whole like discussion is another delaying tactic, maybe.
Yeah, that's where should we go now?
Not at all, not at all, says Graham. If you go through my door, you will see the architecture of the labyrinth. You will see the sights that you have not dreamed of. Graham goes, no, if you go through my door, you will see creatures that you've never dreamed of, even things that your grandmother did not write in the book.
I think you're right, Wanko. They are definitely playing us for fools, and I think Lily goes over to Loma's door and pushes it open.
Ha, says Loma. They have chosen my door. I get the cake. No, it's not fair. You always get the cake.
You should split the cake. That would be would make more sense. Split the cake. Don't just one gets to eat it. That's wrong. And then I'm through the door.
Okay.
When I'm king, everybody gets cake.
And does everyone walk through the door? He walked through the door, leaving Loma and Gloam. And Gloam says, will you split the cake? No, says Loma, and holds the cake up above Gloam's head. Gloam leaping up and trying to grab it. It says, it's my cake. They've chosen my door. It says, they're not very smart, are they? No. They didn't ask for the secret passage that went straight to the heart of the labyrinth. And at that point, someone needs to roll a d6, which would progress us to the next location.
Who wants to go? Shall we flip a coin or roll a die? Who wants to go?
I'll roll a d6. Come on. Somebody has to do it. And it might as well be me. Hey, I've rolled a 4. So that's good, right?
It means that we progress to room 5 in the labyrinth, which we'll get to shortly. It's about 11 o'clock, so we're halfway through our game. Again, let's just sort of take a 5-minute break there, and then we'll give a bit of traveling time before we set up the next room in the labyrinth. Okay, so I'll see you back about sort of 8 minutes or so past the hour. So between the rooms and the locations of the labyrinth, that's almost a degree of travel and free time. So anyone wants to talk or have scenes that is perfectly fine to do. But I think what we'll do is sort of move on though to the sort of first scene as you go through Loma's door. It slams shut behind you, and then you can hear a locking and a bolting noise, and you're in a wide open plaza, and across the floor of this plaza are paving stones from about the size of a shoebox to the size of a table, except at the center of the plaza is a stone platform, and there are circular areas of plain dirt and objects sitting in each of them. You can see the entrance, exit from this room on the other side of the plaza. What do you do?
I assume I sit on somebody's shoulder, maybe Lily's, because otherwise I would just be straggling behind.
Yep.
What kind of objects can I steal one?
There is. So again, that's where you've got the central here, and you've got 4 spaces around it. In one of the spaces of this part of the whole dirt, there has been a what looks to be like an explosion, and the dirt has come up and around from everywhere. And at the bottom of it is a sword, which is made out of black metal, plunged into the ground. In the next one is a well-stuffed sofa. In fact, it looks very familiar. It looks very familiar to you, Lily, and it looks exactly like the sofa that used to be in your grandmother's house. And the third one is a 20-foot statue of the Goblin King. Their resplendent armor shining, made out of polished bronze. One of the feet is cracked. And then the fourth one is a shell of a bus-sized giant turtle.
Nah, it's all too big to steal. But I might. I feel the king lacks a mustache. Squeaky wouldn't be up to being the king's mustache, right?
I mean, that wouldn't be permanent. I think
No.
permanent addition is required here.
Yes, I think so too. But I have this lamp and there's some soot in it, and I think we can use that.
I mean, I am tempted to go to the couch because I'm pretty sure I've lost a lot of stuff down the back of those cushions. Probably remote controls, which will be useless, but who knows what else I might find.
You never know what a remote control will control here. It's interesting. I mean, you could get it and try it out.
Okay, yeah, I mean...
Make Wanko's head fly off or something.
Just don't press the red button, I think.
Okay, so who steps off? Steps towards the sofa? Who steps, or the statue? Who's going first?
I mean, unless you're doing something with the Goblin King's mustache first, Scraggle, I think it's Lily who wanders thoughtlessly over to the sofa.
So I require you now to roll a d6 for me, please. Um, the difficulty here is a 5.
Okay. I don't think any of my traits will come in.
I don't think so at the moment. No.
Okay. So just 1. And that is not a 5. Definitely not a 5.
What is it? Is it a 1?
A 1. Yeah.
Oh, well, a 1 is always a failure. And as you step onto the paving stones, the arm on the Goblin King statue moves and points out towards the castle, and you can see a tower erupts out of the ground with a big clock on it, which has 13 hours upon it. As you step forward, you've gone a sort of a few steps up, and you step on one of the paving stones, and all of a sudden, you feel the brick or the stone you're on lift from underneath you, and you're looking down on a floor, and inside that floor underneath you, you can see a number of annoyed-looking brick keepers, and they look at you as you're sort of standing there. They're in the middle of a seems to be a family meal, and you've disturbed them. One of them stands up and starts shaking their fist and muttering at you in a strange language, and they flip the stone, pushing you backwards. Then you hit the next stone, and it sort of starts a cascade as you can see one of the stones, these sort of people, each by one, comes up and sort of waves their hands and tells you off as you're pushed way back towards the entrance to the labyrinth room.
Steady, steady.
At that point, the figure of the Goblin King statue goes, "Oh." It says, "It seems you have come across a colony of brick keepers. How would you like it if someone was to step on your house, Lily Valentine?"
Yeah, I mean, someone coming into your house and stealing your stuff is annoying. You hypocrite.
She smiles and says, "However would you get through?"
Does anyone know these brick people?
Yeah,
maybe
contestant.
Could you not have a word with them and see if they can maybe move us along in the right direction?
I feel like Wanko's like jumping on the different bricks that are moving around, trying to find the one that's the biggest.
Would you say that again? Sorry, Maria.
He's jumping around on the bricks that are moving around.
Okay, so to fight the big guys. Okay, so you could use your running and jumping here. So you could roll 2 dice and choose your highest roll.
Ooh, it's both 2.
Well, at least it's not a 1. But I think as the areas in the room are, just to be clear, you've got flagstones everywhere. There's different sizes, except for these 4 central dirt areas with the items that I mentioned, and this sort of central slab. But as you sort of jump onto one of the big wooden sort of flagstones, it it flips, and you can see the sort of the stone is lifted. You can see inside there what looks to be a bedroom scene, where you can see 2 bedraggled looking brick keeper parents who are looking down as you sort of cause this disturbance by going bang on the stone. Their little tired brick-keeping children that have just put to sleep are suddenly awoken by the big bang, and they start making crying noises, and the parents are shaking their fists at you, going, yeah, just got the kids to sleep. And you are thrown back towards the entrance to the room.
I feel like Wanko has like a super tiny voice. Sorry. It's like if it's in the comics form, it travels across the page.
I still want to get to the Goblin King. Is there a ceiling? Is this a cave? Something?
No, it's open to the air. I say you could potentially climb across the walls. You could leap to the open. You can leap to the. You can leap or try to leap into one of the open areas in the room.
Yeah, I mean, Scraggle can totally leap. He thinks.
Yeah.
And he says,
Scraggle is also, because Scraggle is good at sneaking and hiding, I'm sure that Scraggle could tippy-toe as well.
Yeah, maybe being very light-footed. I will go and now I will go and give the Goblin King her mustache. She needs that. And maybe you others, maybe try to get to these dirt areas, like jump or, I don't know, fly. You could, Lily, you could throw. I think you could throw Squeek. If Squeek's okay with that. If I were a king, nobody would get thrown around without their permission.
Nobody throws a bone.
It's a well-known saying, you know.
Well, yeah, but I've known worms who quite enjoyed being juggled. So I will now attempt to get to the Goblin King's statue.
Okay, so you will be rolling 2 dice. You'll be trying to beat a 4 at this point.
Let's see. For the party, 2d6s. I need a goblin color, and I think green is a great goblin color. No, we've already got green. Let me see. I go with yellow then. Oh, I've got a 4 and a 6, so.
No problem then. So you tippy-toe over the flagstones right across the room to the pile of dirt which has the Goblin King statue in it with its cracked foot. What are you doing when you get there?
Yeah, well, I'm taking out the soot from my lamp and I'm painting a very beautiful curled mustache on the face, like little curlies at the end.
Excellent. Big mustaches will always get my attention. But as we do that, what about the rest of you? Lily?
I think maybe to help out those poor bricklayer parents, I'm going to try singing a quiet lullaby, and maybe, you know, slowly move over in as graceful a manner as I can, to try to not, you know, step normally, because it seems like that kind of bouncing around is really what disturbs them. So yeah, I'm going to try to move across that way.
Okie dokie. So let's roll again to see if you can manage to convince all of the brick keepers to sleep.
So will I roll an extra die if
will,
I'm
yes.
working and singing? Okay, cool. So a 1 and a 4. Did you say a 5 earlier?
It was because of your I think you're aware of the problem. I'm happy with a 4 this time, so a 4
okay.
or above, because you're being novel in terms of your actions. But I think that's enough, as you say, as you sing, that you can sort of the ones you can sort of start hearing snoring noises from underneath a number of the stones. Uh,
And is I presume is Squeak still on my shoulder, or as he
Yeah,
moved across by himself, being so very small?
very small.
that's absolutely fine with me. As you're making your way across, you're sort of halfway through the room at this point. Wanko, where are you, and how are you?
I feel like I'm trying to, since the stones have become calmer and snoozing bricklayers, I feel like I try to run up the wall. If that's fair.
Yeah, because you are trying to keep your feet off the floor. This point, I think you can have running and jumping, and again, you're looking for 4 or above.
All right. Ooh, 2 and a 5.
5 is fine. So, Lily, you were going for the one that had the sofa in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lily was in that. So Scraggle is in the one with the statue of the Goblin King. Were you aiming for either of those, or the crater with the explosion and the sword in, or the giant turtle shell?
Turtle.
Sorry, the turtle shell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all sort of make your way through to the center of the sort of dirts. The turtle shell, it's big, right? As I say, it's the size of a bus. The turtle that should have been in here. When you look inside, it is empty and echoey. But the sofa, again, is. You're pretty sure it is a sofa from your grandmother's house. If not, it is perfect replica. Lily, as you sort of start sticking your hands down the side of it, pulling out, as you say, remote controls, loose coins, and let's see what else you get out of that. If it's one of the random object. Can you roll me a, what we want is a D 66 at this point. Can you roll me
66, you said?
Yeah. Roll 2d6. Decide which one is your tens effectively.
And treat them as
Okay,
as tens and ones.
Okay. So I have a 3 on the first one and a 1 on the second one.
So you pull out of the sofa. It's a little glass bottle, and it reads upon it, potion. Take 2 teaspoons. Sphere of silence.
Well, that could be useful or dangerous. I'm not sure whether to trust anything I find in this goblin realm. Is it my grandmother's handwriting, or is it some unknown hand?
Yeah, it looks like your grandmother's handwriting.
Okay.
The same calligraphy we saw in the book earlier in the episode. Squeak, were you ruffling through as well?
I would have jumped off Lily's shoulder onto the back, and I look behind the main cushion, sort of. Squeeze myself into a gap and see what I can find.
Okay. Can you roll again? Can you roll a D66 for me?
51.
You pull out a pair of manacles which seem to be, it says, sort of the Magdalenical say on this side say Goblin King manacles, one size fits all.
Oh, he can try to put me in manacles. One size fits all manacles. Okay.
And whilst Wanko, you're in the center of the pit with the pit with the that exploded, and the center of that is like a black burnt, or at least it looks sort of slightly burnt, metallic sword, which is sort of slightly humming.
Uh-oh.
Does it sound the same even if I'm near it?
Yeah. You can see that sort of little bits of metal have stuck to it. Its point looks quite blunt, but it is sort of sticking out of the ground temptingly.
I feel like I look around to the others and I'm like pointing if I should grab it, possibly.
I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right?
Exactly.
And then I pull it.
You pull it out triumphantly, pointing it into the air, and it is rather magnetic as you find yourself pulled through the air and clang onto the Goblin King statue. So you're in the same space with Scraggle. The statue is sort of wobbling precariously.
Always wanted.
And I have like giant eyeballs to Scraggle. And
it's fine. It's fine, Wanko. Don't worry. This was great. This is good. This is a good thing that happened here because we showed now that we can topple the Goblin King.
Okay. and I feel like I tried to remove my hands from the sword and tried to grab at the limbs of the statue to try to balance it.
Cool. I think you can do that. You have detachable limbs, right? So I think that's perfectly feasible to roll 2 dice here, because you can use one arm to stabilize it.
Arm longer.
Yeah.
Oh crap! It's a 3. Good fall.
It goes suddenly. It sort of wobbles and it falls.
Yes.
Bang! Cracking flagstones, but it lands across the floor, meaning that you could clamber across it and out the exit if you wanted to. But it does that. All the flagstones come up. The kids start crying again. The flagstones start changing and moving around on the floor, and you can see waving fists and people screeching and shouting from underneath you. How do you react to this, Lily?
Yeah, I mean, I jump up as soon as that clanging noise rings out, and I don't even think that it was Wanko who did it. I think the Goblin King has been interfering with us and tried to kill whoever was clambering up on it. So yeah, I exclaim, "The Goblin King is going to kill us all! Run for it!" Maybe using the statue as a bridge, as you suggested.
Me with you.
Okay, so everyone will need to make. In fact, let's just have one person who's leading make a roll, and you'll need to roll 3 or above. Is that Lily or someone else? Who's
If I'll roll it, given that it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. A 6.
okay? So do you want to describe how you climber across and exit the room?
Yeah, so I guess I scoop Squeek up, carrying some improbably large manacles.
I know,
and
one size fits all. So
one
they
size
can't
fits
be my
all.
size.
Some improbably small manacles then, for the really dangerous worm. And then jump across to the base of the statue, and yell at Scraggle and Wanko to say, "Come on, let's get out of here before things go even more wronger." And then just balance my way across, up the legs and across the body, and then jump to the other side where the doorway is.
Cool. Are you, Wanko, are you leaving the sword or taking it with you?
Taking it with me.
Cool. So do mark down that the magnetic sword in your equipment as you exit the room.
And I tried to pry. I was about
Yeah.
to try and pry
Yeah.
one of the jewels or the ornaments from the statue while I was there. Then when Wanko came flying,
Sure.
I wonder if I can finish that or if
Yeah.
I.
Yes, you can.
Oh, so I have a weird looking crown stone or something like that. Cool.
Yeah, I think, as I say, you've got let's say you have a it's one of the eyes probably or something, actually the statue, right? So you have a ruby eye.
Yay, I have a ruby eye. Cool.
And would someone I think who Sabine rolled it last time, would someone else like to roll the progress meter to see where you end up to with
I'll try that.
next?
A 2.
Okay, so you've left and you're now in that sort of narrow looking corridor in the labyrinth, but you are given some time to travel. Looking at your ill-gotten gains, what do you do?
Are we any closer to the middle? Can we tell?
Are you asking that of me or one of the other characters?
I'm asking you. Squeak will climb up a wall to see if he can look across.
You are heading in the you're heading in the direction of the right direction, you think. So yeah, you're heading in, and as you sort of step away, what we would see from elsewhere is you will see as you step down and go, you're heading in the right direction. You can see some of the walls turn, and the room that you're just past, you can see these sort of it sort of extends around in a longer corner and pathway than you expected to before.
Right. Okay. We're going in the right direction. That way. And I sort of pop my head in that direction.
The corridor that you're in goes on for some time as you're making your way forward. In fact, to the point where your feet are starting to hurt. It feels almost endless. There's nothing that differentiates one part from another until you see and you find there is a hole in the wall of the labyrinth. And it looks like someone has sort of smashed their way through the wall. And from down in the distance, you can hear the noise of music playing and chatter. Do you go in or do you head on?
does the music sound like? As in, can I tell who makes it? Is it goblin music? Is it fiery music? Is it worm music?
It is. It is a dwarf song.
Ooh,
But it's
dwarves.
you can hear fairy banjo also being played.
Dwarves and fairies over that way. They're usually
I think we
kind.
I think we should go there, yes,
Yeah, let's
because
talk to them.
party seems like it would lead us towards the center. Because
Let's talk to them.
there's always a party at the center.
Do we are because I like after that last room I'm a bit paranoid. Are dwarves and fairies friendly here or not?
Better than goblins.
Hey.
Well, except this one.
Hey, dwarves are usually, they're a bit stuffy.
Well, stuffy, but friendly.
Yeah, but it depends on what happens. I mean, I once stole a
Fairies,
keg.
really,
I once
really
stole a
careful
keg
with.
of beer from a dwarf king, and they were not so friendly after that. But well, yeah, they
Well,
don't
maybe
like
don't
people
mention
stealing
that.
from them.
Yeah, or maybe don't mention that when we get there.
Okay,
I
for
know
you.
you like to take credit for your amazing feats,
Yes.
but maybe not with the thieving.
Okay.
Then Wanko's stomach growls and they mention, we're looking for a recipe, right? Parties usually have food. Wanko hungry.
So yeah, I think we're all agreed we're going through the hole in the wall to find this party.
As you head down, and it goes on for quite a while, as if someone has knocked through a good 100 meters or so of wall, until we see a door. It is a red door, and there's sort of 6 metallic hands protruding from the door.
What are the hands posed like?
Say that again.
What are the hands posed like? Is it like a...
They're sort of like that, held out as you sort of walk towards them, and then 2 of them sort of take on like that. 2 of them sort of hold out like that, and the other 2 come together like a mouth, and it because of the hands sort of look at you and go, "Hey, welcome." So, did you go through Gloam's door or Loma's door?
We went through Gloam's door, I think.
Loma was the beast and Gloam was the goblin.
I'm lying. I'm
Oh,
lying because that's no.
Yeah, he goes.
Never trust something that uses
Never trust hands who speak.
Yeah.
It's like typical goblin. Hey, that being the case, Gloam owns a bar bill here. You're gonna have to settle it up if you want to go in.
Why do I have to settle this barbell?
Oh, yeah, goblin.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Goblins never settle each other's barbell. That would be, I mean, we don't do that. No.
He says, then I'm not letting you in.
Huh.
And you wonder why goblins aren't trusted. You never settle your bar bills.
No, why would we? It's that. Why would anybody do that? That's what they're there for. Then there wouldn't be any more barbell, and that. I mean, we can't just settle them and then they're gone. That's just absurd.
Would no one think of the barbell children, without any barbells to take care of them?
Exactly.
I think if we can go into the party, we can talk to the manager.
He goes, I said, I'm not letting you in unless you pay.
No, we want to talk to the manager. What's the manager?
The hands go, meh, 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 and extend themselves out.
You could. Did we see Scraggle take that ruby?
That's my ruby.
Probably, yes.
Okay. So Lily leans in close and whispers, "You could give them the ruby, right?"
Yeah, I could. Of course I could. But it's mine. Why would I give them a ruby?
Well. Then when we meet Glom again, he'll owe you, right?
What for?
You have to, if you want to become the new Goblin King, you have to make Goblin friends, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if I was king, nobody would sell their barbell. I mean, everybody would have a long, huge, amazing barbell, the best barbells ever, and then that would be even out. But okay, look, here, handy guy. I have. I should have kept the keg. I knew I should have kept the keg. Look, I could give you this ruby, but it's a boring old ruby. Who wants that, right? But I also could go to the party and get you a really good drink or two.
I'll take the ruby.
Yeah. What? You take the ruby? Oh, I was afraid of that. Well, okay, then. And I'm looking through the ruby at the door, and
Inside you can hear you can hear a voice shouting. It goes, free bar snacks for the next 20 minutes.
okay, then bar snacks and Wanko is hungry, right? Okay, if I was king and I throw in the ruby, there would be free bar snacks for 60 minutes. For 60 minutes.
said, yeah, but you're not king, so you're gonna give me the ruby, or are you? We're gonna carry on.
Yeah, you get the ruby here, plonk.
He grabs it and goes, "Ooh, it's an eye!" And it sort of holds it and looks it around. He says, "Come on in." The door creaks open. Said, "Should really not have gone through Gloom's door. If you'd gone for Loma's, I'd have let you in, and I'd have paid the bill." The door creaks open. And it's there are more helping hands on the wall holding people's coats. It has the feel of an adventurer's tavern. There are fairies floating around. There's a table on the bar which has got worms sitting in it who seem to be playing a game of Scrabble. There are goblins and dwarves singing and dancing. And food aplenty, and in the back of the bar are strange hooded-looking figures, mysteriously in the tavern, as if they were here to give out quests.
It's like a job recruitment fair in the back.
It has the feel of a D&D adventurer's tavern.
All sitting separately in the corner, I presume. There's corners in this non-Euclidean tavern.
Like Wanko takes like one of their hands and holds it in the other hands just to feel like they belong in the detached hand district. He high-five one of the bartenders and asks for fries, please. And then he has like a really tiny head popping out of the corner of the counter. He's reaching his hand.
He goes, absolutely. It's a dwarf who's got a sort of a leather apron on. Goes, fries. Notes that down, and he sort of shouts out to the back, and he goes, "We want fries."
You only see like Wanko's nose on top of the counter now. He's sniffing all the remnants of the appetizers that was served on this counter.
a group of goblins come straight out, put the fries on the table, condiments, knife and fork, serviette, and then slam down your food on the table.
I eat it. I eat it using like one of my other hands, like my hand holding the other hand and the hand holding the fork.
Whilst Wanko is being eating their food, what about Scraggle?
I want free bar snacks.
Cool. The outcome, he says, free bar snacks, and he pulls out a bowl, and inside it are what looks to be some quite stale bread in one, and some sort of smelly looking soup in another. He said, help yourself.
That's your bar snack.
Well, what would you have as bar snacks?
I don't pie, or cookies, or peanut flips, or pretzels. Tiny ones. They're nice.
Cockroaches.
Let me guess, if you were King Scraggle, it would be the finest of bar snacks for free all day.
Yes, yes, Lily, you are right. See, Lily gets me.
Goes,
Yeah. If-
Wanko off Scraggle of fry.
Oh, I take the fry. Thank you, Wanko.
He goes, well, we're not going to give away the good stuff.
Why not?
I said, how are we going to get paid?
Ah, money is an illusion. It's just the way the Goblin King uses to keep you under her foot.
The goblins on the table go, hey,
I'm just.
you can't
I
be
mean-
saying that about the Goblin King.
Oh, I mean, I'm just not. I was just. I've read that somewhere in a book.
Said the Goblin King pays an honest day's wage for an honest day's tyranny. That's the way forward.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Okay then, I'm going to steal something here. I steal these goblins. They get on my nerves. They're not my subjects yet, and I will steal one of their food thingies, whatever they're eating. Maybe one of them has a snack that I can steal.
Yeah, certainly. So it's yeah. So they have got, and they have one of them. Yeah, they have a pie on the table. So that.
Okay, so I will.
Are you stealing their food? Are you picking their pockets? What's the plan?
I think I'm trying to pick one of them their pockets. Picking pockets is fun. I'm good with that.
So roll for me. Yeah, roll for me. Yeah, D66.
Okay. Okay. Do I roll for what I get, or do I roll for stealing here?
Oh, roll to steal, I suppose. Yes, you want to steal first. So
Yeah.
sneaking and hiding. So you 2d6 and roll your highest.
Yeah, I've rolled a 6, so.
Awesome.
Nice.
Then that's no problem at all. So then roll a d66 to see what you manage to pull out of their pocket.
Okay. I've rolled a 36. Yeah, 36.
You pull out of their pocket. You're not quite sure how they managed to hide it in there, but you pull out a grappling hook and a long piece of rope.
Oh, nice. Nice. Can't eat it, but it's still nice. I'm keeping that one. And then I go and No, then I let the others do some stuff.
Lily, what were you doing?
I think I am getting involved in whatever party is going on in the center of the room. So if there's fairies and dwarves dancing and singing, I might join in.
Okay. There are there are fairies and dwarves having a sing song alongside a pig in a fancy ball gown.
Nice.
Well, I think someone who's obviously here to impress and party needs to be asked to dance, you know. So that pig is gonna.
Yeah, roll with your advantage then. So roll 2d6.
Only a 3.
So the 3 is probably enough. It is not. You don't really get the dance that they're doing. But you sort of manage to figure it out eventually. And they said, "Ha!" Said, "Not a bad dance for a human." Said, "We don't see your sword around here very often. What brings you here?"
Well, I'm on a journey. I'm going to the through the labyrinth to recover some friends and a recipe. So I guess we're here on a pit stop. Someone wanted some snacks, you know, and what can you do?
Don't eat the free bar snacks. They're terrible.
Yeah, well, they're free.
Said the pig says looks at the sort of the stale food and the sloppy soup. It says, "Well, I like it." Says, "Hey, so you know," said, you come a little bit off. He said, "Off your beaten track from here."
Why? What way should we be heading?
He said, "It's difficult to know," but he said, "Usually," he points to the mysterious strangers at the back of the bar, and said, "Usually they can help unless you want to go on your own way. They'll always ask you to do something for them."
Side quests are really not what we need, but I guess if we're going in the right direction, it might help. Well, thank you for the dance, my lady, and I'll give her a bow and then wander over to collect the others.
In the meantime, Squeek would have scooted over to the worms playing Scrabble. Hey, fellas. What's up? Heard anything about stolen recipes? You know, the big one?
As you sort of look over at them, you note that all of them have got exactly the same letters on their Scrabble tiles. And most of them have got, this game seems to have a lot of Q's and X's and Z's in it, probably more than a normal Scrabble game would allow.
Oh, well.
So he goes, recipes? No. He said, I remember when they used to make good stew here. Haven't made good stew here forever.
No. You remember the recipe of power, the stew of power. It's been stolen. The Goblin King has it. You need to retrieve it.
Seems legit. The Goblin King steals everything.
So, heard anything about it? They might have taken it. Oh, they might have taken it.
Said, well, if it's probably in their castle, everything tends to be in their castle. You know, that guy, that girl, that whatever, that's bad news. And the goblins who spoke up and go, hey, you can't be saying that about the Goblin King. And go, why don't you come over here and stop me saying it. And one of the worms waves their fist at the goblin.
Yeah, maybe you've heard something. Let me know if you find something out. I really need to retrieve it because it's important for mankind.
Said, hey, we could take those goblins, right?
Of course we can.
Goes, great. They put down their Scrabble tiles and sort of shake their little worm fist at the goblin, saying, yeah, you come over here. And the goblin saying, no, you come over here. And this looks like it's about to turn into a fight. Squeek, I'd like you to roll to see if this erupts into a fight, but I'm going to call you overconfident Florin here.
So roll 2d6 and take the
Choose
lower.
lowest, yep.
I rolled a 3 and a 4, so it's a 3.
So I would have been 3's enough. But the suddenly the worms and the goblins erupt into a fight as the worms launch themselves off the bar into fisticuffs.
Squeak will try to lock 2 of the goblins together with his manacles.
Okay, so that's fine. You tie the 2 of the goblins together with the manacles, and then they look at that and they look at you. It said, those are goblin manacles. They'll never come off. You're going like, the goblin said, now we're going to have to be stuck with him forever. You go, no, I'm going to be stuck with you forever. He goes, I don't even like you. I don't like you either. And then the goblins start fighting each other.
And use that opportunity to scoot out of harm's way.
Yeah, no problem.
In the commotion, can Wanko grab more fries and put it on top of their head and walk towards the dark hooded figures in the back?
Absolutely.
Or probably chuckling at the scene in front of them?
Yep. As the goblins are fighting Squeak, one of them drops what appears to be a bag of marbles.
Ooh, I will pick those up. So I get rid of my manacles and put a bag of marbles there instead.
The mysterious figures in the bar, one of them pulls back their hood. You can see there are on one of the tables there are some dwarves, and another some goblins, on another one a very old looking wizened man.
Who looks like they could most do with a free bowl of fries right now.
The old wizened man. And I feel like I also do the thing where I'm still holding my other hand, pretending I am like all the other fairies over here. Fairies over here.
Grand. So you sit down from him, and the man looks and goes, "Ooh, curly fries."
And then I just nod my head. Yeah, curly fries.
So he sort of leans forward and takes the fry and goes, tasty. He goes, I am Robold.
And then,
You look. Oh, no, carry on.
and then Wanko says, Wanko.
He goes, you look like an adventurous sort.
Then he just nods his head.
Said, I have a need of an adventurous sort. He said, further into the labyrinth there is a statue. It's a statue of my My former wife. I miss her so. And I was
Wanko just cries with the wizard. Just like, ah!
I miss her so, and I was wondering perhaps if only someone could bring back the head from that statue for me.
Wanko brands the rusty sword with two hands and says, I can take that one, sir. And then nods his head and the fries like jiggle a bit on his head.
Says, "Oh, if you were able to help me for this, I would show you the way. I will show you the way beyond this part of the labyrinth and into the hedge maze."
Wanko jumps up to the table like super excited and is like, really? With like giant eyes. It's a deal, sir. And then he gives his hand.
Goes, "Oh, it's wonderful. If then we have an agreement." He says, "You will find the statue here." And he says, and he sort of points to a map, and he says, "All you need to do is go through the little back door here, and you'll be out into the right location." Probably.
I feel like Wanko studies the map really properly, but he also looks up to the wizard and asks, wizened man, and asks, who took her?
Says, "Oh, her beauty was so great that the Goblin King would not permit her. They are such a vainglorious ruler. If only there was a better king."
I feel that this is Scraggle's. That this is the code for Scraggle's entry. And he says, "Yes, you are totally right. If I was king, nobody would be punished for being beautiful or ugly or anything. Everybody should look like they want to look. I'm not vainglorious. I mean, I know I'm pretty. I do not have any kind of insecurity about that. Even if there was someone who was prettier than I, which I doubt, but I wouldn't mind."
So,
Can Mr. come with us? And then he's talking to Scraggle. And as the wizened man.
Sure. The more the merrier.
I would be honored to travel with you.
Join us in our noble quest.
Wonderful. And which of you will be giving me the piggyback, for my legs are tired?
I'm looking at Lily.
Oh, not me.
I mean, I think Squeek is out of the question. It's true. But Scraggle, you are truly the mightiest of us.
It's true. I mean, yeah, sure. A good king will carry their subject on their shoulders if need be. And I imagine Scraggle isn't that tall. But, well, you know.
I feel like Wanko offers one of their legs. Like, this is you.
Excellent. Then onwards, he says, standing but wobbling slightly on his poor spindly-looking legs. So is Lily, who's carrying him? Sorry, again, there was.
Yeah, probably me. I don't know. I
until the absurdity of it becomes evident to everyone, and if Scraggle asks, Lily will carry the wizened old man after that. If he asks, if he can admit that he's not best equipped to do it.
What? No. I think Scraggle will at least attempt to carry him, but he will complain that this is a bit unwieldy.
So
Your legs
I'm going to give
are-
you the temporary floor while you're still carrying them, wizened old man.
Yes, thank you. I am very happy to carry around a wizened old man.
And would someone who has not roll for the progress to the next location in the labyrinth?
I haven't rolled.
Yeah, roll for me then, please.
Ooh, 6.
So you go out through the back door of the tavern and onwards through the turning corners and alleyways of the labyrinth until such point where you enter a grand quite a big room, and then half buried in the ground is a statue of a beautiful woman, but it is big, probably much larger than the old man who's been waxing lyrical how beautiful his wife was. This is a giant. The way out is past the giant. The statue is half buried in the ground, and it rumbles and groans and creaks as you move past it, its arms reaching upwards. And it says in a booming voice that causes dust to come from the walls itself, "What have we here, trespassers?"
Is that your wife? I'm asking the wizened old man.
It says, "It is a statue of her. Isn't she beautiful?" The head of the statue is again around the size of a car.
It's huge.
In one hand, the statue holds aloft a golden cage, and there is a figure inside. And that figure, I think, looks back and shakes the cage, and it is a human-sized version of the statue. And she looks and says, "Robolt, is that you? You have gotten so old."
I feel like Wanko goes, "You're so pretty," alongside, like right beside the wizened old man, and with like their hands up.
I mean, she's even prettier than you, Scraggle. Never mind the Goblin King.
Well, she is. I don't know. Her ears are not as magnificent as mine.
Your ears are definitely your best feature. I agree.
That's true. It's true. And the ears perk up.
So the giant buried in the ground says, "No," says, "This is mine." Says, and you can see around the giant there are other cages on the floor. Some of them open, some of them empty, some have skeletons inside. He says, "I get so lonely. She keeps me company. You can't have her."
That's the wrong way to go about this. If you want company, you need to throw a party and make yourself appealing to people. like find friends, right? Like, look, I have 5 friends. I have this old man I'm caring about, and these guys, and other myriads of friends, really, basically.
I said, I will let her go if one of you stays with me instead. I'm lonely.
Well, what about the old man? Then? Do you want to stay with this lovely statue for a bit? Maybe you could take turns with your wife.
Said, what? Stay there? In a cage? He's scratching his head and looking somewhat concerned by it, going like, really, I only wanted the statue's head. I don't like her that much. I don't want to stay here.
Well, you can maybe take the statue home with you.
But I thought you wanted to be with your wife.
I suppose.
I mean, we could just leave you here, and the 3 of you could work it out like grown-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could just live in the cage and get out to visit other places. If this statue is going to walk you around, I don't know. It sounds ridiculous to me, but what do I know?
I think it's a perfect solution for all of your problems.
I feel like Wanko also says, she just seems lonely. She's just grumpy like you. Maybe you should offer her a fry. It happens that way.
If I stay here, can I be in the same cage as my wife? And will you let my friends go by? The giant sort of takes a moment and says, yes. Will you come back and visit?
Of course.
Of course. I mean, statues should... I will come back and figure out a way for the statue to move around.
If we ever find this room again.
Wanko flashes an uncharacteristically large smile and a thumbs up.
Fine, says the giant. I will keep both of them, and the rest of you may pass.
But you'll be nice to them. You'll be nice to them.
Says, I will love them and pet them and keep them safe. You look at the skeletons in some of the other cages.
Yeah, remember to feed and water them.
Yes, of course.
And I'm presuming that if one of them wants to leave, you'll leave them, go out to visit the tavern to eat some food and talk to other people, so long as one of them stays with you at all times.
That seems fair. Yes. Oh, wonderful, says the woman in the cage. She said, I've been here for nearly 100 years. I'm starving.
I will give the stale bread that I took from the tavern, the free bar snack, to the old man, because I don't really want to eat it. But if she's so hungry.
We finally found the niche market for the free bar snacks. Starving
See.
woman for a century.
Yeah.
She says, "Ooh!" as you walk towards the giant. Its hand scoops down and tries to pop Scraggle into the cage.
Hey! I'm not part of the deal.
You'll
I'm
need
not. No.
you'll
I
need to
am.
escape the the grab with a 3
Yeah.
or higher.
Okay. And I'm still carrying that old man, right?
Yes.
Great. So I will then roll with 2 dice and take the lower one. I've got a 3 and a 5.
So it was 3 or above, so you're fine in that point. So I think what happens is he grabs the old man and not you and pops the old man into the cage.
Cool.
And pops it in with and as he goes into the cage, the old man sort of straightens and looks younger all of a sudden as he hugs his wife and goes, "Oh, even if it means being locked in a cage for 100 years, this is a good thing."
Wanko's crying again.
Yay!
Says, says the giant statue, and says, perhaps one of you now can help me with my crossword. But he is distracted and in a position, he's talking to the two in the cage, but in a position where he can let both of you pass if you so wish, or all of you pass.
That would be hell for me.
Is the old man supposed to tell us which direction to go next, maybe?
Oh, he says, the old man, yes. He says, you're going that way. 3 lefts, 2 rights, 2 lefts again, then turn around and go another left. That way, said, that way you'll reach the end of the Stonewalls and be close, if you pass the final test, to the hedge maze.
Well, that seems perfectly clear.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. You don't even have to stand on your. We don't even have to stand on our heads at one point. That's amazing.
He goes, cheerio then. Do come back. The giant waves, and you can hear the woman says, "So can I get out?" "I suppose so." And the woman gets out of the cage as you're walking away, and says, the old man says, "You will be back, won't you, beloved?" As you see her running away in the opposite direction, saying, "Not a chance."
Oops.
Oh no.
And we will, I think, coming up towards the end of today's session, so we'll leave the final route in this phase of the maze for next week.
Damned to eternity of solving cross